Bretzky!
What?
Get your ass over here! All rise! It's the VIPOD! Come get it while it's hot. Season 2 is just gonna smell like a fried chicken fire log in here. Squirt. Squirt, 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 squirt. You know what our listeners want to hear? What? I don't know either. Where's that cactus? We should just have the cocaine song as our intro.
What the
I'm in the mid-grin. Did you just try to play footsie with me? You know who I really hate?
Tommy, I am your father.
Oh, so now we're doing movie quotes? Yep. Run, Bretzky, run! Are you recording?
Yep.
No, but really, are you recording?
Yeah. I get it. I see what you're doing here.
You may be seated. I am the greatest one, Wayne Bretzky, and I'm here alongside the Tommy Show 1.0, and this is the VIPOD. Welcome back, everybody. Tommy? Loads.
Let's crack a beer quickly. So we're going to be drinking a bunch of beers today. I am thirsty. I'm excited. I got a little boner going. Already chugged one. And I got to say I was excited, and I was disappointed at the end because... sorry, I might have poured a little more here.
That's okay.
I'll
take more of the... I know which one I'm taking.
Yeah, that's right. I had it's a local from Kilter vintage Pilsner. Now... First of all, I was excited because I was like, I love Pilsners, and like vintage Pilsner, it's got to taste fucking fantastic, right? And I even read the label that says vegan friendly, and it didn't click, but I'm like, if it's vintage, like back then, there was no such thing as vegan free.
No, it's the yeast. I'm assuming they're not.
So
they're substituting
right away.
somewhere.
That's false advertising to me.
Our guest could probably tell us a little bit more about
Absolutely.
that. We'll get into that in a
we'll
minute.
introduce our guest shortly. So, but anyways, it was a good beer. But there's that little taste that it wasn't like lining up with me. That was not a Pilsner to me. But overall, it was a good beer. I mean, it went down very easily. And,
it was not hard to swallow. And this one here has an aroma to it. I haven't even put it to my face yet.
Yeah, so this one is Barnhammer Brewing Company. And it's a New England IPA, Hazy Tropical Mellow. Loads.
Wow, loads.
Oh, that is fantastic.
That is...
Oh,
I like that, yeah.
Baby.
Took me a minute to understand what was going on in my mouth there. But
speaking of hazy, do you want to introduce our
yeah, I think
guest?
we should just get straight into
Let's get
introducing
into it
the guest because we're getting into the beer already, and that's pretty much what his specialty is. So, without further ado, our guest today from the BAOS Podcast, Mr. C.
What's up, C?
It's actually just C. It's not Mr. C, but I guess you could call him Mr. C if you wanted to.
I think you could. I think there was a Mr. C is a DJ in the States. I think he got caught with a trans woman. That was a bit of a thing recently.
Hey, we're not judging. Like I mean, hey.
That's all I know about him. That's the interesting thing. What you guys were drinking sounds good.
Yeah.
And what's it called? Barnhammer?
Yeah,
It's
Barnhammer.
Barnhammer.
They're another local brewery here. This is actually I think, one of the first.
I love the can.
I've had that. That was great.
Yeah, it's a fantastic beer. Yeah,
is the
66 hazy tropical mellow. It's 6.6%, 37 IBU, which is International Bitterness Unit. It's a strong beer. So I guess anything over 4.8 or 5%, it's considered strong beer, right?
I think it's 6.
6? Oh, okay.
6 is and it's like the the Canadian rule of calling it strong beer. And I think if it hits 8, it's got extra strong beer.
Oh, okay.
If I'm not mistaken.
And this one is unfiltered and no preservatives, which I love unfiltered beer. And one of my favorite unfiltered beers is Steam Whistle. Every time I go back to Toronto, I always go to the brewery and get myself a couple pints of Steam Whistle unfiltered because it's just so good.
It's money. It's money. Most craft beer is unfiltered because the filtering, I think it's called what's it called? Of course, I'm on a podcast, I forget the name. Starts with C. But they're super expensive, and it's not really something that you want, particularly for a New England IPA. The intention behind that beer, it's supposed to be unfiltered, so they'll say that, but it kind of goes without saying for the style. Like, say, this beer, this is filtered. This is a Kolsch from Saint-Guillaume Baron in Gatineau, Quebec. Love these guys.
Okay.
And like this is intended to be. This is like from Cologne, Germany, so it's a lagered ale, and most lagers are intentionally filtered because you want them shits clear. But the unfiltered pilsner from Steam Whistle is essentially just their pills. Just they didn't run it through the. What's it called, man? It's gonna kill me. Centrifuge. Sorry, my girlfriend hooked me up. Do you remember that?
Hi, girlfriend.
Do you remember the name? Tiffany's in the building. She's our producer for the podcast, so she's been everywhere. That's hilarious.
That's great.
Love it.
So
appreciate you guys having me, by the way.
Oh, you know what? It's our pleasure. Like we try to get different guests. Like we've had some musicians, music promoters. We're going to have a photographer on. We did have a brewer on our show as well. So we just kind of try to focus on like a little bit of art. Let's call it arts and crafts. There's so many different varieties of art, whether it's
we've had craft cannabis growers too.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it's it takes a certain skill to do these things, and I mean yourself, you're a beer critic and a musician, so that's a perfect combination because we can really literally talk about both, right? So we'll dip into all that. But why don't you, Bretzky, tell us like how did you guys connect, or how do you guys know each other?
Well,
and let's go from.
I met C years back through a mutual friend of ours, Shay and Justin Q Matthews, who they both said to say hi to you, by the way.
They love those guys.
But yeah, so Shay, he was the founder of Northern Touch Music Festival. So I think that was what we had you in town for, because it was Canada Day. I recall it was around Canada Day. I'm fairly certain because I remember just being.
I've been to Winnipeg with Canada Day. The first time when we would have met would have been 2013. I was on tour with Shay at the time. He went by Abstract Art Form and Relic.
Yes.
Who's a legendary MC producer from Toronto. I met them. I did their Montreal show. They went out east and they were like, hey, do you want to come to Winnipeg and do the shows along the way? I'm like, all right, sweet. So I met them in Toronto. We went to Sudbury, Thunder Bay, and Winnipeg for the Canada Day show, which was like the homecoming album launch for him at the album at the time. So that's where we would have met. And I was back again in 2017 to do a campaign for A&W on Canada Day for the beer stuff.
Right.
Know the 2 times I've been there, but I haven't been for the Northern Touch Festival. Shay never put me on that motherfucker. But
son of a bitch.
Well, I'm having Justin on the show soon, so we can talk to him about it because he's coming to talk all about Northern Touch.
Yes.
But yeah, and then we just kind of stayed in touch through Facebook over the years, and then I started following your podcast a little bit, and just your Facebook in general. You always have tons and tons of critiques and stuff right on there, and it blows me away how you always seem to be able to describe beers kind of like the wine connoisseurs do, but like there are so many different beers, and like every one you're coming up with very original descriptive descriptions, I guess is the word. And so it makes it really interesting.
Like it's not
to follow.
just like,
it's not just like another full-bodied hints that linger was strong. Like you'd like really describe it and put a scene out there for a person to kind of think about and imagine what it would be like to have that beer. And again, myself, I drink beer, but I wouldn't consider myself like a seasoned beer drinker. Like I don't have a very wide variety that I generally experiment with.
Yeah.
But man, a lot of the beers that you post, I'm like, fuck, I want to try that. That looks good.
Well, and if you have somebody describe the beer and like tell you the flavors. You know, it might give you a better idea. I've never listened to your podcast where you talk about this, so sorry, it's just been super busy. But definitely, I've added it to my list. It's just I never got around to it. But again, if somebody tells me whether it's beer or food or wine, you know, like, you know, it tastes like something that I like, well, I'm more likely to go and actually try it, right? Than just saying like, oh, this is a really good beer, you should try it.
And you find some really interesting ones too, like the one you had the other day that was like that slush beer. And fuck, I want to find something like that. That looked so good. I can't even think in my head what slush beer would probably taste. Actually, I can think of it because when I play Spongy out in the wintertime, you put a beer in the snowbank, and when you come back after your game, you have slush beer. So
pretty much,
and I love that. So I mean,
so
Very simple.
So what made you get into beer critiquing?
It was a bit of an accident. I'm from Australia, which people can probably tell.
What?
No.
No. What? Really? I moved here in 2010 for music with my brother, and in January 2011, it was my first Canadian winter, and my friends in Australia did this thing called the 365 Days of Beer, where the whole thing was you're supposed to drink 365 beers within a year, and you're supposed to take a selfie with either the can or a labeled pint glass to prove that you drank it, and do that. So I was like, all right, cool. And I think it was January 19th I started it, and I was like, well, obviously there's not 300 beers in the world, and I thought I was a fancy man's in Australia because I was drinking macro lagers from wherever I could find them from, you know, Quilmes from Argentina, or Cristal from Cuba, or Budweiser from North America, you know, shit like that. And
it's
so
pronounced
I was doing
Budweiser.
the thing, and I was just taking a picture, put number 1 Moosehead brackets Canada, cool. Number 2, and these were just ones that I was drinking. I was at the time just into whatever was at the beer store or the LCBO. I lived in Toronto, sorry, yeah. So, and then I think I got to beer 12, and someone was like, "Hey, why don't you tell us what you think of it?" I was like, "Okay." So I went back and I just wrote one sentence about each beer. I knew nothing about beer. I look back when they come up in the Facebook memories, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, that's so ridiculous. I knew nothing at all, but I was just whatever. I didn't care.
Yeah.
So I kept doing it. I enjoyed my housemate at the time, Scott, decided to do it with me. We were going to the LCBO and beer store, and we went to like Michigan and drove around Ontario and just picking up beers and you know, really enjoying it. So I think it got 7 months in, and I got to the 365, and I was like, oh, all right, well, I'm just going to keep doing this. So I kept going. I enjoyed it because it made me go and buy more stuff and learn about beer. And as I got to drink more styles, you can see the reviews progress into, you know, more and more knowledge or understanding what things are. And then just kept going. People were telling me after a while, after I did that, I became de facto the beer guy. I mean, once again, I know nothing about it, not educated, just having to go. And because music is stressful and annoying, it was a nice distraction and got me into something else, like a little hobby. Yeah. Some people were telling me to write a book with the reviews because I started like cussing in the reviews and just saying ridiculous things because I didn't understand what I was really drinking.
Yeah.
So I was just saying shit. And I was like, I don't want to write a book. These are stupid. Like I really never took it seriously. It was just genuinely nothing I wanted to do because the whole point was to have a hobby that was less stressful than music. So then around 2015, my girlfriend was like, why don't you listen to beer podcasts? I'm like, because we were getting into podcasts. And I was like, that's not a bad idea. So I went looking for some, and I found like one, which is like the OG Ontario one. I won't say the name of it because I didn't enjoy it. It sounded like this middle-aged dude, like, yeah, so the rounded malts on this pair, like really boring ass shit.
Just AM like, radio kind of sound.
That's exactly what it is. AM radio sound. And I was like, this is not what I want. So then she's like, why don't you do a podcast about beer? I was like, all right. So I hit my friend Scott. I'm like, dude, you want to, even though I live here, by that time I lived in Montreal, he's in Toronto. I'm like, dude, you want to do a podcast? He's like, yeah, all right. So I had my blog, like the blog. The idea is when I was posting the reviews, they're on Facebook, and I post them to a Tumblr. And I was like, I need a name for this. And I was like, syncing my Instagram. At the time, Instagram hadn't been around long, and I was posting them on Instagram and syncing them to my Tumblr. So I just was like, I don't know, it's beer and other shit, I guess. So I called it beer and other shit because it's just whatever I posted. Absolutely, once again, not taking anything seriously. Then when we did the podcast, we called the podcast that. So because I'm a musician, I have I'm just gesturing towards my microphone. I got the full studio set up, so I was like, well, I can do that all here. My brother's an audio engineer, so bam, we can do it. So Scott would come to Montreal. We'd record like 5 episodes at a time and bank them up.
Yeah.
So we were doing that for, I don't know, maybe 9 months to a year. And then breweries just started reaching out. Like, oh, okay. And they want to be on. Like, okay, I'll talk to a brewery. Cool, that'd be fun. And then there's one brewery here called Glutenberg. Have you guys heard of them? They do gluten-free.
No, I wouldn't.
No, I'm not familiar with them.
No? They're like they win all the awards at all the festivals for
Okay.
gluten-free beers. They're pretty good. So I connected with them, and they wanted to be on, but then, or the marketing lady wanted them to be on, but then the owners were like, they didn't like the name because it was called Beer and Other Shit, and they were worried about cussing. I'm like, fuck, what do we do? So we had 2 choices. We could either double down on the cussing and be like, I don't give a shit, we're going to extra go. Also, we were saying the C word. I don't know if you want me to say it.
cunt,
In Australia, okay. So we would end the podcast by saying catch a cunts, which is just from a YouTube video, like a little joke.
Love it.
And it was our thing. And we were saying cunt a lot because I know on my other podcast, we fucking cunt it up really hard. But on beer, then we decided to cut the C word, call it BAOS Podcast because we couldn't come up with another name. Let's just shorten it and then make it more professional. So we ended up going that route, and it just kind of kept going. And now we have a pod. It's been 7 years. We've done pods all across North America, Australia, Canada. We've worked with tourism offices where they would ship us out to like Colorado for 2 weeks and send us around the whole state. We've done that with Vermont, with Virginia. We've been around
awesome.
New York, California. Like, it's been pretty cool, like where it's taken me. And then behind me here, for those watching on video, I've done a bunch of collaboration beers. I've started a non-profit to diversify the craft beer industry. So and I got fat. So, here we are. It's been
that
been
is
a good thing,
so cool. I mean, just the fact that you you managed to travel around, like breweries started reaching out to you. That means you got in at the right time, right before the pandemic, right? Because during the pandemic, I think everybody started podcasting, including us.
Yeah, well, you're saying 7 years, so you're pretty OG to the podcasting game there too, because back 7 years ago, it wasn't a lot of people who didn't at least have a professional studio that were putting together anything of any value. So to be in it that early is definitely pretty cool too. That
it's helped us for sure.
You've kind of been there while it's
still
grown.
think we must have been like the second or third craft beer podcast in Canada.
Oh wow, okay.
We had to have been like right. Definitely weren't the first, but I didn't see any others. And all the people we had this, I feel like a lot of the old guard of the beer writers and the people like that kind of weren't too fond of us at the beginning for all of our cussing and everything, which is all of those people who were kind of making fun of us or whatever all end up having podcasts. So they all kind of jumped on the bandwagon after kind of mocking it. But, I guess that's part of the early thing, but it's good. Give us some traction. People know us and they, and along the way, that's how I learned to be better at describing the beers, because I talk to smart people way smarter than me all the time. So I'm tapping their brain, hearing them describe the beer. I'm like, that's what that is. Okay, all right, that's what that means. Cool. And I'm piecing it all together over 11 years now of doing this, doing the reviews, and I'm up to beer number 7,000 and like 80 something, I think 7,086 I had the other night. So
wow,
not bad.
Awesome.
Kept it going.
I mean, yeah, like you said that it's you're finding, like, you learning about beer as you're talking to these brewers and different companies, and like that was mind blowing to us when we had my buddy on, Jeremy from Brazen Hall. He's the main brewer for a local brewery here, and he told us how you achieve a banana flavor, and it's not by adding banana flavor into the beer, but it's exactly.
It's a
and I was just
process,
like, what? It was just mind blowing.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah, like, I mean, I guess I never paid attention in school to chemistry, so yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me. But it was mind blowing.
I've even significantly expanded my beer horizons doing the show too, because, like I said, I used to be basically like a Kokanee or Coors kind of guy. Like, I wasn't really interested in too much beyond a lager or maybe a Pilsner. Anything with any darkness, any hoppiness, bitterness, I just wasn't interested. And
Excuse me.
you know, I'd get suckered once in a while with a neat looking can or something like that at the store, and I'd buy it, and then I'd instantly regret it
You
every
just
time.
force
like
it because
just,
you paid for it.
yeah, exactly. But I didn't ever actually enjoy them. But then having had some of the guests that we've had, they've kind of brought some stuff and kind of been able to explain it a bit more, and we've also been able to bring in some stuff with a little bit more variety than just the like bringing in a stout or just bringing in another dark beer or something.
Yeah.
Like now there's all these, there's the flavored beers, there's the hazy beers, there's the sours, there's all these different types that you're starting to find around now that you weren't finding 5-10 years ago.
Yeah, I
even.
was gonna actually say, like, at one point there was all of a sudden this big blow up of craft beers, but they were only making the same type. Like it was just, it's always it was lots of IPAs and stouts, and just like some of them they tried to add like, oh, well, it was like chocolate flavor, but like they weren't as good. And then I'd say for about a year, like every time I tried like a craft beer, I was just like, nah, I can't do it. But you know, you're saying that you're a Coors guy, right? Or Kokanee, whereas I grew up in Europe. And so when I moved here, you can imagine the disappointment in beer.
Yeah, it's like when we go to the States.
yeah, exactly. Oh God, I don't even want to talk about that. But yeah, like I was used to the lagers, the pilsners, you know, and the full flavored beer, and also actually
and 4.5 inches of head on top.
Oh, yeah, and that would last for at least 10 minutes, you know, like you would have the mustache, literally. But I wanted to ask you actually, what's your opinion about drinking ice cold beer?
You mean like actually like you take a beer, put it in the freezer or something? Or?
Well, I mean, like, yeah, like a lot of like, so what I do is when I pop my beers, I usually let it sit. If I take it out of the fridge, even just the fridge, I let it sit for about 5 minutes or so, or even 10 minutes, some of them, because I find like, I mean, if it's Coors Light, it doesn't matter. It's Coors Light. But like anything that has a little more flavor, or it's a nice craft beer, I let it sit because I find that the flavor is just so much better when it's not ice cold. Like a lot of my friends, they give me like a frozen mug. I'm like, no.
Well, I think that's
give me a
why.
regular glass.
I
Yeah.
think that's why a lot of the cheaper beers try to sell their beer at pubs and stuff. Like you'll see. I explained it before. Kokanee had a tap that was a big metal, like a big brass mountain, and it would completely frost over. And so when you ordered your beer, the line ran through that, and it would pour out ice cold into a frosted cup, and you didn't taste anything. It was just cold,
Yeah.
crisp, and that's what I'm saying. I think with the cheaper beers, that's kind of the point that they just want it to be cold and refreshing.
Yeah.
Just slam it back. It's
Well, yeah,
not about a
you can drink that.
flavor.
Yeah.
But what's your
You
opinion
drink
on
that
it?
shit warm. Now I get it. Cool. That's a great question. Yes, if you drink that stuff warm, you know why they want it ice cold. Every beer style has a proper serving temperature. So like something like a Kolsch Lager Pilsner in that family, if I'm not mistaken, don't quote me, I'm ballparking it, but it's like usually sub 5 degrees is optimal. When you're looking at something that's a bit bigger, like say like a stout or something, it might be 10 to 12 degrees Celsius that you drink those bad boys at. So it's like every different style, and I can't remember what New England IPA is. I imagine it's probably like 5 to 8 degrees or something like that. So it's every style has its own really specific thing. I like personally, I mean, look, it's up to everybody. Definitely the frozen mug is like, don't do that. But I like to have them from the fridge and drink the range of temperature. So like I'll take it out of the fridge, something like this. Like right now I'm drinking what we call a crispy boy. It's like a crispy beer. So we call them that. And I like these guys colder, and then I crush them pretty quick typically. So as I'm drinking them, it'll slowly warm up, and then you get more of the flavors. Say something like a 10-12% stout. I'll take it out of the fridge. Sometimes I'll leave it for a bit, but I kind of like pouring it and then drinking it, but I'm not going to drink it quick. It's going to take me an hour and a half or something like that to drink that, maybe longer. So I get the whole thing, and I like as it warms, you get that nose and just every sip, and like, ooh, what's that? Then you leave it in your mouth a bit longer, and you're like, oh shit, there's these other flavors that I didn't notice before because it was too cold. So I like that. So I think there's the proper temperature, but there's like a bit of personal preference, which sounds like you have there with the taking it out, which is nothing wrong with that at all.
No, yeah, I remember like growing up in Europe, when we would grab a beer, they would pour it in the glass, but it was never ice cold, and they had a certain temperature. But those beers were going down so easily, and I think that's also the trick, because if it's ice cold, I mean, you try to chug a beer ice cold, your throat's gonna hurt eventually, you know. Yeah. But when it's like just a little like cool, let's call it cool, man, they go down so much faster. And yeah, we would drink like 12, 15 beers a night easily.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Slovakia.
Okay, so that's not too far away from Czech Republic. So there's a big resurgence of, and I mentioned that because like the Czech beers, all the North American a significant portion are obsessed with Czech beers. So there was this, I think the Czech embassy or the Czech whatever it is, the tourism thing, had this deal where they were like paying for taking brewers over. And they were taking them to say, you know, to Pilsen, they're going to Pilsner Urquell and to all of these, you know, within Prague and all around. And they were showing, you know, doing tours of these breweries and getting, you know, learning, you know, the Keller, which is the cellar underground where they actually they put everything in wood barrels and they store it there and it's all naturally carbonated. And you have the Mlíko pours where there's like that much beer and the rest of it's all head and you're supposed to do it as a shooter and like, you pour them on the Luca taps, which are pretty popular out here now. So there's like been a whole resurgence to maybe how you grew up drinking beer. I imagine was very similar to the real traditional way that it's supposed to be drank. And then in North America, there's this new obsession with that style. Yeah, it's my favorite style too. When I go to breweries specifically that are great at that and that have the Luca tap, which are these little they're called a side pour. So instead of pulling the tap down, it pulls to the side. And they've got a little ball bearing, and you can.
Yep, it's like the Slurpee machine.
You can. Kind of. I think it's like, well, that's a separate thing. Also, that's a whole other thing that went popular. But yeah, it's super cool, man. The Slurpees are fucking sick as well. But it's like there's a whole thing that's happening in beer. It's a really good time to be into it or get into it if you're not into it already. Like, there's something for everybody now. It's crazy.
Do you know the story behind Budweiser?
Not the full thing, probably, no.
Like where it originated and why Czechvar is called the Czechvar?
I don't know if I've ever bothered to look into it now.
Okay, so the Czechvar is actually the original Budweiser. And
they just copied it?
Sorry?
They copied it?
No, so what happened is the original Budweiser, they were brewing it in the 1800s, and I guess they stopped the brewing process. And I don't know, I can't remember if it was like an uncle or nephew or somebody basically just kind of sold the rights to the beer and moved to North America, or maybe they were already living in North America. So they started making Budweiser, but then they started also making Budweiser in Europe. So if you go anywhere in Europe, you will find the Czechvar beer, but it will say Český Budvar, which means Czech Budweiser, and it's
Budvar, yeah.
Yeah, and it's actually like they brew it in a town called České Budějovice, so it all has to go back to the same town, but that's where it originated, and the only reason they call it Czechvar here because they have the Budweiser, and Budweiser has the rights in North America to the name. So that's why there's different labels for it. But
shit.
That is one of my favorite beers, actually. Like every once in a while I buy like a case or two. And that's my treat beer where I like, okay, Friday afternoon, crack it and just really, really, really enjoy that one glass of beer. And not just
it's phenomenal stuff, man. You don't realize how until I got into lagers, really got into it, you don't realize how fire these European lagers are, things like that. It's just so incredible with it. And I haven't even been there since I cared about beer to try it from the source. So that's now my next bucket list is just to get to Pilsen, to go to Czech Republic, to go to Bavaria in Germany and just hit up all those places where they just do basically one style of beer and just fucking sit on those terraces and soak that shit up, man.
Absolutely, yeah.
killer. Yeah,
No,
super
for
keen.
sure.
It's completely different to what we have out here. Like, it's a whole new scene, like you guys were saying with the New England IPAs and smoothie sours, which is super popular, like with unfermented fruit. And then the slushies we were just talking about off air, where there's literally a 7-Eleven slushie machine to set the beer up, so it's like alcoholic slushies. Like, there's a lot of like super fun beer stuff that the beer purists get a little fucking upset about. But yeah, it's a really good time. Like, I feel like before, like, this beer that tastes like beer, it's hard to convert people from, like what you're saying, the coconut and cooler stuff into a craft beer drinker, because if you already don't like, well, if you're drinking coconut and coolers, then you're probably going to get into this. That's potential. But if you don't even like the macro stuff, like, how are you going to bridge that gap into craft beer? But now there's so many different things that can get you in. I know a bunch of people who only drink sours. That's all they like. That's their whole vibe. So they have the sour beer. That appeals to wine drinkers because it's not too dissimilar to a white wine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. See, I'm not into, like, I've tried sour beers, and it's, again, I'm not gonna pour it out, but it's not something that I'd be like buying it on a regular basis. Whereas I know you love sours, right?
Love sours.
But
Nice.
you know what? I wanted to try a juicy beer, and then I found this one called Juicy as Fuck.
Oh,
So
I've had that boombox.
I was like, I just saw the name. I'm like, okay, we have to try it. So let's get into the next one. This one is made by
It's Boombox.
Oh, Boombox. Okay, yeah, sorry. Yeah, you just said that. Yeah.
So they're from Vancouver, BC, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Yeah.
This is one of their classic. This is Vancouver is one of the great beer scenes in Canada. They do some real killer shit. Van have a bunch of real, like, Vancouver. I would say, Quebec, Ontario, and BC are arguably the most advanced beer scenes. You guys out there in Manitoba are coming up with Kilter and Silkrams, and there's a few others out there. Excuse my ignorance, I haven't been out there for a few years, but even last time I was there, from what I had a person I was trading with, and he was sending me some Kilter. Really great stuff. And it's cool that you guys are able to get, because you guys are like dead in the middle of the country, so you kind of like almost get the best of both coasts, which is pretty fortunate.
Well, it's one of those, if Vancouver wants to deliver to Toronto, well, you better make a fucking stop here. And vice versa, right? So
we're starting to get quite a few like boutique beer stores here, and
there's lots. There's also a lot more little microbreweries here, which I'm happy about, because in the summertime, like, that's not that there's much to do in Winnipeg, but like, if somebody comes in from New York to Winnipeg, well, what is there to do? It's not like there's shit here that's worldwide known, but one of the things is you can get a beer tour, and then it takes you, like, you can get different tiers, I think, but you can get to, like, it'll take you like a bus will take you to 4 or 6 different kinds of breweries with food and everything. And I'm like, to me, that's what I want to do when I come to a new country or a new city. Like, I want to try the local food, local beers. We did a Scandinavian cruise, and we had one day in Finland and Sweden and where else did we stop? Like Denmark, and then that's what we want. I was like, I don't care. I'm not paying extra excursion. We just took the shuttle downtown, went to the first restaurant we saw. I was like, do you have local food? Yeah, perfect. We want that, and I want local beer. And I was super happy, So this is nice that in Winnipeg now we have these breweries, and they're creating these little tours. And even locals love doing that, because, hell, why not? It's a nice summer day. And
I actually just got to do a quick shout-out. Oxus Brewery, who's a friend of the show here.
Kevin.
I tried... he had a orange creamsicle sour that was just fantastic.
Nice. What's the brewery called, bro?
Oxus, OXUS.
OXUS. I'm gonna follow them right now.
Yeah, they've got some really fantastic stuff, and follow Brazen Hall Brewery as well. They're also
I know them.
Really
good. What's the deal with them? Brazen Hall.
So there was a restaurant here in Winnipeg that was very well known called the Round Table, and the owner's son took over, and he basically tore it down and built Brazen Hall kitchen and whatever,
and
brew house, and so basically they have their own brewery. And a really good friend of mine who was on our show, Jeremy, he basically was at the time when they opened up, he was the main brewer. And yeah, they're brewing like basically he got the free hand to like, hey, brew whatever you think is gonna be good, you know. And he was experimenting a lot, and they were testing it on customers. Basically, if they had a good response, they just kept doing them. And the ones that didn't, you know, like, okay, that was the batch, and they made something new. So
he also used to work with Half Pints, who you may have been familiar with, because they were one of the original craft brewers in Winnipeg.
Yeah.
If not the original craft brewer.
Ford, I know Ford Gary.
For
Ford
Winnipeg?
Gary, I don't think Ford Gary is necessarily a craft one.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
you're right. No, they're craft.
Are they?
Craft.
Yeah, Ford Gary's been
They
around
were
longer, yeah.
Old school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
Ford
think
Gary
Half
would
Pints were one
Two
of the-
Rivers.
Yeah.
The Pizza Oven is dedicated to the highest quality pie that the whole family can enjoy. With their amazing sauce and the freshest ingredients, the Pizza Oven is here to provide quality and a great tasting pizza to Winnipeg and East St. Paul. They use a delicious blend of mozzarella cheese and make their pizza crust daily, both thick and thin, and their meats are proudly provided by Winnipeg Old Country. They're located at 1215 Henderson Highway, Unit D in Winnipeg. Call them today at 204-949-3000 because everyone's loving the Pizza Oven. And tell them the VIPOD sent you by using promo code VIPOD5 for 5% off of your order, and order online for an additional 5% off for a grand total of 10% off of your order.
We would like to take a moment to say a great big thank you to our lead sponsor, SafetyNet Studio, for bringing us to all major platforms under their banner. SafetyNet Studio is a boutique audio company. They produce podcasts, offer voice work, and create content for radio stations across North America. You can head to safetynetstudio.com and check out music news you can use that's covering the chart toppers and floppers. It's a daily 6 to 7 minute pod that keep you up to date with all your active rock and top 40 favorites. You can also hear music news you can use on your local radio station.
Badlands Promotions Inc. is a music production company based out of Portage La Prairie, Manitoba, Canada. They promote local shows, all ages, and 18+. They also offer a wide variety of services including concert promotions, tour bookings, merchandising, flyers, photo and video services, studio recording, EPK, and website building. Call Badlands Promotions Inc. at 204-595-0500. You can also email them at badlandspromotionsplap@gmail.com. VIPOD is very excited to promote every Badlands Promotions Inc. show, so come out and support your local scene.
Okay, juicy as fuck. I mean, man, look at how cloudy that is.
It looks like a glass of orange juice.
Mixed with peach juice or something like that, right? Like,
and it doesn't taste far off from that either.
But it's
no.
It smells fantastic and it tastes really good.
It doesn't taste as offensive as it smells like it's going to taste. Like it smells like it's going to kick you pretty hard, but the flavor itself is pretty mellow. How am I doing here? See,
IPAs are, by nature, they're super soft. They're like their intention. They're like the polar opposite to say, like, when people say they don't like IPAs, they're thinking of West Coast IPAs, which are bitter, dank, piney, resinous, a little bit intense, very malty, sometimes pretty sweet. The New England IPAs smell like tropical fruit juice, pineapple, mango, passion fruit, guava, papaya sometimes, and they're very, very smooth and silky, and they're never bitter. If they're bitter, it's kind of rare. Some breweries brew them bitter, but it's a little weird if they do. And there are I think New England IPAs are essentially that style changed the entire face of craft beer in probably late 2016, 2017. They only came, there were two breweries in the States. From what I understand, it was started either by Trillium or Treehouse in Massachusetts. And then it kind of went from there. But even before then, there was a Vermont IPA, which was sort of like a take on the West Coast where it was less bitter. It was opaque, not hazy, and it was kind of a browny yellow as opposed to the yellow that you guys have with the Juicy AF right there. And the most famous one is Heady Topper from The Alchemist. Or Sip of Sunshine from Lawson's Finest Liquids, and then they basically started off with that. People were lining up, getting there like hours before they opened to grab that beer. Do I have that up? Yeah, Heady Topper. You can't see it. There's a little sign behind there. One of the greatest beers of all time, and then that led to the New England IPA, which went heavy in the States. And then when it came here, I believe Barncat in Cambridge, Ontario, did the first one in Canada. And then Sawdust City's Juicin', which was my first one that I had. And I was like, what in the fuck is this? This has changed my world. So then Bellwoods in Toronto really went hard with them, and they started kind of spreading from there. And now it's like basically, you know, haze is the most, I would say most consumed style in craft beer, probably.
Okay.
Beer, obviously, it's like lagers and stuff. But they're the ones like, you know, say if you're with, I've been out, like one of my girlfriend's friends lived in New York. So whenever we were in New York, we'd be down, I'd obviously be drinking haze, and she would like, yo, can I try it? So she tried it, like, yo, what? That's beer? And I think that one is going to convert people to craft beer for sure.
Absolutely, yeah.
Amazing stuff.
There's a lot, like, you know, I mean, yourself, like, you're not a beer drinker, right? Like, you have the odd ones, but like, I think the more fruity ones will get you more likely to try more and more new ones, right? And
they're definitely more up my alley. I
think that's the idea of being the craft brewer too, that it'll just kind of get more people to, you know, you slowly pull them in.
And you hit the nail on the head, because the hazes have really been another one other than the sours that I've really been enjoying. I don't think I've found many hazes I didn't like, and
the Haze Bomb, right? Like from Brazen Hall. That's a fantastic beer. Like that is one of my favorite Brazen Hall beers for sure.
To me, it just tastes like beer with somebody put some 5 Alive in there. Yeah. Like it just, it is tasty. It is really good.
Man.
So,
well, that stuff is killer. Yeah. Sorry, go on.
No. Do you have like your absolute favorite beer that you've tried and you're like, yeah, that is holding the number one? And do you have like one that is just like absolute garbage and I'm never trying that again?
Definitely. The one of all time, huh? It's like, after this many beers, like it's sort of hard to pinpoint like a fave. If I had to say fave of all time, I'd probably say Heady Topper from The Alchemist. It's just insane. It's been obviously a few years since I've been able to get that. The one that okay, this is another thing that I've learned. Because I know the people behind the businesses, I'm very careful with what I say. You don't know if you noticed that I don't really shit on anybody. I'm cautious with my words because I feel like, not so much that people are watching, but like, I don't want to, you know, if it's just because it's not for me. So, I mean, sometimes it's objectively shit. Like the beer was something, but maybe something was wrong with it or whatever. Sometimes it's just the brewers don't know what the fuck they're doing, and it's just not a good beer. But like, who am I to shit on their beer? Like, just because I got a podcast or whatever, I'm no genius with this stuff. I'm not a brewer. Like, so I try not to shit on anything. But one of the perks of this podcast and the YouTube channel and all this stuff is that people send you stuff. So I have next to, it's ridiculous. We're trying to move right now, but because we don't have storage. Next to the bed, there's probably 40, 50 boxes of beer that I don't think I'll ever get to, that is just piling up. I've got 1 foot between the side of the bed and then blocking my girlfriend's closet, just boxes of beer.
Well, I'll be in Toronto in August, so if you want to meet up, I'll offload some of that beer off from you.
Allow me.
Or if you're moving, that's a great way to get some moving help. So
yeah, exactly.
Right? Not a bad way to do it. But yeah, you get a lot of stuff. If I'm honest, I'm a little quick to drain pour, which is, you know, to drain a beer. If it's not fire, it's gone. I don't have bandwidth for not fire beers.
Yeah.
If I paid for it, I am probably a little more patient. because I'm like, oh man, this is like $5, $10.
Yeah.
If it's as long as I take the content, that's what they want. They send it to me. I get the content. They get what they want. Hopefully, I enjoy it. But I can't say that I do it all the time.
Yeah. Well, and again, as a you're not. It's not like what do you call it? Like restaurants get the ratings. Like if a critique goes there and rates their food, and now they only get like the 2 stars or whatever, and then now people will shit on it. It's like this is truly like your opinion for your podcast, right? You talk about the beer, and whether you like it or not, again, you might not like it, and I might absolutely love
4 gulps out of 5.
right? Yeah, exactly. So it's just your personal preference. Your taste buds are different than from anybody else. So
100%. I'm very conscious of that. There's an app, I don't know if you guys have heard of it, called Untapped. Are you familiar with that?
no,
I'm not.
No? So it's like do you remember Foursquare?
Yeah.
Yep. So
That's
it's
where you like
Foursquare
check
for
in.
beer.
Okay.
You check into a beer. So basically, this beer right now, I go into the app, and basically this app, unfortunately, runs the lives of many breweries. So you've got the app here, you go in there, you search for the beer. So I've had this before, so I'm just gonna, whatever I put before, I'm gonna choose the rating. So I go here, I find the beer, there it is. So you got the little screen there, here we go, put that in front of my face. So basically, you can see how many ratings it's got, what other people gave it. So I go check in, I drank it in a can, untapped at home. There's like people put flavor profile things. I just tap them all. I gave this 4.5 stars, check in, and then Norman checks into it and syncs it up to Facebook and Twitter and all that type of stuff.
sorry, and you said it's called Untapped?
Untapped, yeah.
Okay.
Untapped, UNTAPPD.
Yeah, I'm downloading it now.
That's actually
Grab
good for
that,
our show.
add
We
me.
should track that stuff.
So what it does for me, a lot of people fucking hate this app because people are pieces. They go, don't like Pilsners, 2 out of 5. I'm like, so why are you rating it? You don't know what's a bad beer. Like, shut up. But what this does, it brings the overall rating of the beer down, which some people, they call them, it's called ticker culture, like ticker culture, which means you just want to check as many beers as you can. And it's become problematic in the beer industry because some people go to the brewery and they're like, what's new? What haven't I had so I can check in? You got that? Okay, let me check.
Yeah.
Oh, this has only got an average of 3. I'm not drinking that. Sorry. Okay. And it actually, it's become problematic for breweries, and some breweries only make beers that they know are going to do well on Untappd because they're so stressed about it.
Yeah.
Which is super unfortunate. So that, to me though, because I've had such a volume of beer, I'm like, it allows me to keep track of what I have had before. Of my, my numbers, I got it around beer 800-ish. So I'm missing the first 800, but I learned the other day, if I pay for a membership, I can do a backdate check-in
retrace,
for all those other beers, so I'll know if which I might actually do. I think I just need to sit down for an hour or 2 and do it. But the idea is just to keep track of it. So I'm like, oh, have I had this before? And I can go through and check it, so then I can do the review if I have. Sometimes I'll have it and I couldn't be bothered doing the review, so I'll just drink the beer and check into it.
Yeah.
Then if I get it again, I'm able to do the review. But not all beers you can get again. Sometimes it's one and done.
Yeah.
So that's why I was probably more likely. Which is why when we talked, Brett, about the collabs, I did a couple. We've done 20 collabs over the years, but we did 2 that happened to have my stupid face on it in the span of like 2 weeks, type of thing. And that, or maybe it was in the same week actually. But yeah, so like beers don't typically get distributed. Like craft beer is just buy it at the brewery. Maybe it gets local distro, but that's it. Like, it's a little unfortunate the way it all works. Super frustrating.
Yeah,
so you
no.
have to kind of like, get it while you can.
Does the Untappd app, does it have any sort of like weighted system to the ratings where like if you've rated more beer or if more people have like liked your reviews, then your ratings have more weight than someone who's just going through and clicking 2 stars everywhere, every beer he drinks because he doesn't actually like beer?
They should almost do something because, like, let's say Google reviews will keep track. Okay, this guy has done 10 reviews. That guy has done thousands of reviews, right? So his reviews might be a little like, and he gets a rating. So yeah, that might be
heavier.
Yeah, that might be Untappd. If you're whoever's in charge and listening, there's an idea, and we want 10%.
And you can come on the show. We'll talk. Well, why don't we dip into a little of the other stuff that you do as well? Like we mentioned earlier, you have a bit of a music career as well. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that, and then we'll maybe play a track just to break things up a little bit.
Yeah, you said you moved to Canada because of music, right?
Yes, my brother and I had a little distribution deal with a small label in Miami, and I'd already lived in Toronto in 2004, and we got that deal in 2009. So we were like, well, we need to just relocate. It's very difficult to move to the States as an Australian, so we were like, well, I know we can get the work and holiday permit again in Canada, so we moved to Toronto in September 2010. My brother stayed there. I ended up moving on to Montreal a couple of years later, essentially for immigration, to keep me in the country, because it's a long ass story, but immigration is a whole ordeal. Anyone says, I'm just going to move to this country is full of shit. It's a whole thing at all times. Yeah, man, we do like what we call like soulful hip hop, I guess. Sort of like, let's say conscious, which I don't like that term, but like, hip hop with sort of a message. It's not, we do sort of all, there's sometimes a little trappy, but like, soulful hip hop essentially. We've been doing it 20 years now. Strangely enough, I'm old as fuck at this point. I've been releasing music since 02, so it's been a long time. I dropped my second solo, because I've always been in groups, and I've done a whole bunch of collaborative projects, like, you do like albums with other rappers or other producers and stuff. So yeah, my last project was a second solo album in October last year called Relentless, which I'm super proud of. We had, the first one I had that didn't have any illegal samples, because normally, producers will get an old song from the 70s or some shit, take a part of it, make a sample out of it, and that's what I like the old Kanye West style shit.
Yeah.
And this project was the first one that I did without all of that. So it was all played. We had like section musicians, violin, cello, drums, guitar, bass, saxophone. Like
nice.
It was a whole, it was a really good experience. So it turned out good. It's just the music industry changed a lot since we moved here. So I knew that it was hard being a white dude from Australia moving to North America trying to do rap. Very aware of that. It was never easy, because music is more subjective, I guess, as opposed to something else, which is objectively great, but kind of like beer. People like it, or they don't. Yeah. So it's, been a little tougher, but it's kind of cool because we've got these side projects. So like, I have a social media agency with my girlfriend as well. That's, we have a YouTube channel that's got more followers than other things that we're doing, because we're giving social media tips, and we're working with some pretty big companies there, and we've got the beer, and then we've got the music. So like, I have a song called Brewheads, which I did in 2013. So I believe is the world's first like proper craft beer song, like real nerdy craft beer song, which is the theme song for my podcast. So now, because the podcast has grown, the beer people listen to and share and support the music and buy the stuff when it drops and everything, which is super cool. So it's all like kind of reciprocal with, my brother's beat is our theme song when we do our social media channel. Like all of it's kind of intertwined. So it's, it's a nice little ecosystem. And I think the way that things work now, the way that the music will grow more, because it's essentially, I want to say impossible, but it's like 0.001% of people really even have a career where they can support themselves from music.
Yeah.
So whilst that was always the goalposts have moved in that process, and that's okay, because I can still put out the music that I want and support that through these other channels, and it'll just it grows every time. So I mean, like, that's what you can ask for. But yeah, it's still a big passion. It's just the other thing, music takes longer to get things done. It's just the whole thing at all times. Whereas like, I can put out beer photos every day, or drop beer videos and podcasts every week. You guys know what it's like with the pods and stuff. So that's why we do a music podcast. My brother and I have a podcast called Bad Habits, with with C and no shit. Because there's multiple bad habits, because we keep choosing names that people already have. But we talk about hip hop, and we can say cunt, and it's a good time. It's completely different than the beer stuff, to kind of showcase another side of what we do and stuff. So it's it's interesting. We're never bored with all the different contents and projects and all that stuff.
We should probably mention too, because you were mentioning to us just before we started recording. For some reason, the algorithm with Spotify is pure shit and doesn't like to find you. So if people do want to find you, they can look you up by the artist name and just one of your songs, and then click on the artist name. So the artist name is CEE, and the song that we used was Hazy, because that was just the shortest song title you said, basically, right?
100%.
Well, and
The
we will
easiest way to find it.
we will definitely put all your links to our pod description. We'll throw it on YouTube as well, and make sure that when people listen to this episode, they can find a direct link, and they don't have to go search and possibly find somebody else and like, hey, that wasn't what I was expecting. That was the wrong one, buddy.
Yeah. But
I don't know why they do that though. I happen to choose a name that there's 8 million people with C. There's not many people with just C, but it's in a million people's names. And when I chose the name, this wasn't a problem in 2000, in whatever, the 90s or whatever I decided to use it. So, yeah, no.
back before the Google.
Yeah,
Back
exactly.
before the Google. And in hindsight, I would have probably done something a bit different. But it is what it is. But I just don't understand. It's a verified profile with regular releases, so I don't know why it doesn't get put up before the other ones. That are just these
Which
random
you think
people.
it would, right? It would just bump it right to the top. Like, hey, I'm looking for seed. Yeah, this guy's verified, so it should come up at top.
And it's not a big deal to be verified. It just means I take the profile seriously. I've reached out. I've claimed my artist profile in Spotify for artists, and I've done all the things right, just like you would have claimed your podcast and stuff.
Yeah.
Same concept. So I just don't know why they don't do that. And I've asked them before, like, what's up? And they go, I'm sorry that you feel that you're not getting enough search results or something. I'm like, it's not like I feel. It's like, what's the point of being verified if there's 8 million people with similar name, but they get higher rankings than the person who bothers to take your platform seriously? Like,
Yeah.
We could do a whole
is what it is.
podcast on all the shortfalls of Spotify.
Yeah. So you kind of touched on it already. That, so you use your music now, like in your podcast and like things like that. But like, do you still put on shows? Do you still perform as an artist, just with other artists and concerts?
I'm done with performing. Performing I've never been interested in.
No.
We stopped performing in 2015 intentionally because you perform for what? For a bunch of people who are fucking standing there, like, not caring. Like, honestly, like 95% of the shows I ever did were whack as fuck.
Yeah.
And some of them were sick. We used to get all the opening here, or open for like Most Def and stuff. They were fun.
Nice.
And a bunch of the big ones. But I noticed that like the amount of time, effort, money, energy, travel that we put into the shows, like going to Winnipeg with Shay and them was fun as hell. But what did it result in, really? Like, not really anything.
Yeah.
Like, all of the results I see have come from online. Like, I don't see any benefit of performances unless I get to a level where someone will book me and pay me to go somewhere and do something of value.
Like, you get the arena, right? Like, then it's people
It doesn't
will
be an arena, but like, I don't know, 500-person venue.
a full house at
least. Or
least,
at least
like-
I'm like, like we do all the open mic nights, or you do these tours, and you're begging, almost like you're begging people to come and pay fucking $10 at the door, and then fat chance of selling your CDs or your T-shirts or your hats or whatever you've got. Like, as an independent artist, that grind, I think the time has passed. I think anyone really like banking on tours is living in the past. And I think that the
Especially
only way to
living in
move forward-
Canada.
Yeah, like you
Canada's-
have to travel such a long, like Montreal, Toronto, great. You know, like a lot of even like North
Suburbs
American
and
artists
stuff.
will go. They'll maybe hit up Hamilton, Toronto. You know,
Ottawa, Kingston,
Ottawa.
London,
Exactly.
Barrie.
They'll get those, and then they'll skip Winnipeg
Bye.
and Saskatchewan, and they might go to Calgary, Edmonton, but they just go straight to BC, and then they hit San Francisco, and they hit up the West Coast, right? But yeah, no, it's just it's so hard. Like, I know we've talked about this on the show before, that nowadays there's no point in releasing full albums. You just release a single. And then, you know, you get those listens in, and then you drop another one, right? And that's how you get these, let's call them kids, right? But really anybody.
Nobody
that's
has
how
the
you get them
attention span
hooked.
anymore.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
People, I mean, other than me, people don't want to listen to an album anymore. Like,
Yeah.
you see behind me, I got like the Pink Floyd shit. That's what I love, when you can literally listen for 2 hours and it somehow all ties in together into this massive thing. Like, I eat that shit up. But majority of people nowadays, if they're not getting some sort of gratification by 30 seconds in, you hit the next button.
Yeah.
Because you can do that now. It's not like, back in the old days, you had to fast forward a tape or even change a CD or something. Like now with the Spotify's and everything.
Or move the needle.
Yeah, exactly. Like now it is literally the just next, and it's that easy. And you can just... I mean, be your own DJ and keep going until something gets the dopamine flowing. But it is a shame. It's really kind of killing what a lot of music was. Like there isn't nearly as much art to music as there used to be.
Yeah. Well, I'll never forget this one meme. It said it was the lyrics to the Bohemian Rhapsody.
And then Beyonce.
it was written by one person, performed by one person. And then there's Beyonce, all the single ladies, right? And it's just like it was exactly like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
But speaking of writing, do you write your own lyrics? Do you do your own music?
Oh, yeah.
You do everything, or do you collaborate with people?
Just
all
the
the time?
lyrics. Yeah. So I'm a rapper, not a producer. So producers make in hip hop parlance, I guess. A producer is really like the composer.
Yep.
So say my last album, Relentless, is this a rapper / producer from Toronto. Well, he's from here in Montreal, but he lives in Toronto. Maya Clarity. And he knows Shay and everybody as well. He produced the whole album. So basically, I went to every time I went to Toronto, we'd book in a session, and I'd be like, I'd bring him, like, I want to do some music like this. I want to do a song like this. And be like, all right, cool. And he would just play it all in front of me. Like, nah, use a different sound. All right, cool. And we map the whole thing out. We'd write the chorus together. I go off, write my verses. I don't mind collaborating on choruses and stuff, so that's fine. And with a rapper, like you kind of got to write your own verses. It's pretty important to an MC to be able to do that. And then so we prepare the whole album that way. And then we booked a studio week, which I never normally do because I have the studio right behind the camera here, like a home studio. But we booked a proper one because we had the cello, the violin, the sax, all these people coming through.
Yeah.
So we had that for a full week, like 12-hour days, every day for a week to record. It was amazing. The first time I'd ever done that. And the first time ever, I let Maya, because he is a rapper, and I think he's technically better than me as far as like his technique was more like an Eminem type of dude who's really technically dope. So I would write the rap, I'd do a rough recording of it, and I'd actually let him make some small changes to my verses, which is never done in 20 years of plus of doing music. So, but typically, yeah. So I'd always work with a producer. Like my brother is an audio engineer, a rapper, and he makes beats.
Yeah.
So he can mix and master stuff. So basically, we're completely self-sufficient in-house, which is really cool. So him and I own a label together called called The Movement Fam, which this
Nice.
over here got
Sweet.
that on there. But yeah. So it's something that we've been doing since 2008, I guess. We've been working together on stuff, him and I officially. But so it's like I always gonna need someone to make the beat. That's the only downside for someone like me because I don't. But I'm the business guy, so I do all the business stuff. My brother doesn't like any of that shit, so I'm like, cool. You make everything sound good and stuff, and I'll take care of the rest.
Yeah.
So it's like a nice little agreement there, which is cool.
Super cool.
Yeah,
Okay,
the most expensive part.
I think we're ready for another one. So this is from Scumbags.
Nice. You got some beauty.
Cosmos.
What is it? New England?
This is a sour.
Dry hopped sour.
Dry hop sour. Okay. So dry hop sours are typically lower ABV. What is it, like 4, 5, 6? Something like that?
Let's see. It does not.
Bottom of the front there in that box, I think.
Oh, there we go. 4.7.
4.7.
Yeah.
So dry hop sours are typically like a Berliner Weiss base. So a kettle sour, which means the yeast that they add in makes it sour in the kettle, in the fermenter, as opposed to a barrel-aged sour. They actually take it from that, put it in a barrel with some more Lactobacillus, Pediococcus, or Brettanomyces to sour it. And then you've got the dry hops. So they'll add hops. I guess people know what hops are, I would imagine. But, you chuck that shit in at the end. So it's usually in the cold side, so not when it's like, it's in the last few days of fermentation. And that'll bring out all the tropical fruits that you'd be tasting there. So anything, obviously the tartness, the tanginess is from the kettle souring. Yeah, right? A little bit puckering. But you probably get some sort of tropical fruits.
Yeah.
The hops.
Mm-hmm.
What's it called? Cosmos?
Cosmos, yeah.
Yeah, that one's
see
not
what hops they
kidding.
got.
That's not kidding when they say sour on that one.
Yeah.
Cosmos. Okay, so that one, what does it say? Okay, citrus, fuzzy peach, and lemon. So it doesn't say which hops they have.
I would
in
say
there.
definitely lemon. Like lemon is the
Yeah, you taste the lemon for sure.
very
The lemon
strong
in it?
taste. Yeah.
I know the type of one. Sometimes they would say the hops. I don't know why they're not saying it. Usually Untapped, my good old friend, would say the the thing. Okay, it's got 1,000 check-ins, so it must be one of their like core range. But yeah, dry hop sours are pretty cool. They usually have dry hop fruited sours as well, so they might have with single fruits or a mix of fruits. Sure, a good time. This is the time of year for them too. They go pretty hard this time of year.
Okay, so why don't we drop one of your songs right now for the listeners? And which one would you like us to play? We'll let you
Let's
pick.
do some. Yeah, okay. Let's do something from the new album, Relentless. Let's do. Actually, the most popular song is called Too Hungover.
Too Hungover.
Right
Yeah,
there.
I see it. Yeah.
Almost at 10K. Yeah, that one's the.
C Notion and Eve Archer. Steve
So
Archer.
she's the singer. My brother is Notion, who was rapping on that. But yeah, Dee was singing. She's great.
Right on. Okay, so we'll play that song right now.
Let's do it.
Too hungover, just come over. I can't be alone. Come and hide with me. Too hungover, come get closer. I won't be sober. Stay inside with me.
Hey, my here, I'ma reach still. I just need a quick minute, keep chill. When I touch down, we gon' tear it up on you, duck down. Getting buck wild, dear, chill. Off of Bellwoods and Four Winds. Hazy OJ, and I'm feeling the more, kid. I ain't wrap it up, but I'm killing like 4/5. And baby, come tomorrow, know your drive is exhausted. Spent last night kinda black out. Woke up and I ain't going back out. Hit it like I should, then relax now. Girl, let's park our ass on the damn couch. Hey, now skip breakfast, ain't even the brunch 10. Blinds closed, sweatpants, we disgusting. Both of us a hot mess before we even got dressed. I'm just trying to smash dip, mission accomplished. But we just
Too hungover, just come over. I can't be alone. Come and hide with me. Too hungover, come get closer. I won't be sober. Stay inside with me. Too hungover, just come over. I can't be alone. Come and hide with me. Too hungover, come get closer. I won't be sober. Stay inside with me.
It all started with a text and the next thing she ain't Uber from the West End. Undressing, no time for foreplay. We start in the hallway. I swear we'd be doing it all day. Yo, so come inside with me. I got wine and weed, and you could be just whoever you decide to be. Straight role playing, ain't no covers. Don't catch feelings, we ain't no lovers. Last night I didn't sleep much, so right now I'm in the house with my feet up. Netflix, chill, roll a couple trees up. I'm trying to catch a vibe, baby, turn the beat up. You see, us, it is really a game, an unpredictable thing. Is this a physical or emotional exchange? I don't even know, can't remember your name. I wanted boom, smash, piece, and I'm out of the frame, cause
Too hungover, just come over. I can't be alone. Come and hide with me. Too hungover, come get closer. I won't be sober. Stay inside with me. Too hungover, just come over. I can't be alone. Come and hide with me. Too hungover,
right, so you guys heard the song from C, the album Relentless, and Too Hungover, which I fucking love because I think we're gonna be too hungover this Saturday. Anyways, at least I'm planning on getting hammered tonight. So this episode gets released Friday, and so we are actually going to a art show.
Woo, fancy.
And so that's our old co-host, which was actually, she's back in the studio right now, not today because she's too busy and whatever. We always make fun of her.
Just being an artist.
Yeah, she's being a bitch. but yeah, no. So she's a painter. That's her, I guess, hobby. She's an artist, and she's a very good artist. So she has an art show tonight, and so we're gonna be there. And I'm planning on leaving my vehicle parked somewhere all night, and I'm just gonna show some of her artwork real quick for our listeners, if you can see it.
Hold on, see if we can get a light here.
Yeah, I think this is pretty good. But yeah, she made some stickers. Am I showing right? Yeah, there's like a. There we go. There we go. Yeah. So she's a fantastic artist, and so she's gonna be doing a little art show, and we're gonna be just showing her support and getting drunk and probably embarrass her at some point. So I know her grandma and mom are coming, so I'm definitely gonna hang out with them and maybe dance with them once I'm like at that level.
Yeah.
You know the vibes.
Absolutely.
That's key.
Okay.
A good beer for you.
So I have a little curveball that I'm gonna throw at you. So this is something that we've going to steal from another podcast. We
do that all the time.
We collaborated a little bit with these guys from the States, the Society of Scoundrels. They unfortunately they stopped doing their podcast, but they're fantastic, and they always did like a top 5 at the end of their show. We're not going to go into top 5. We're going to call it top 3. So then, they can't say you guys stole our idea.
And let's be real here. They didn't create
Yeah,
top
exactly.
5.
They didn't create it. Yeah. But you know what? I would like to know your top 3 best beer experiences, whether it was, you just had like one of the beers that was like super good and you enjoyed it, or it was like a bartender that the way he served the beer, or a good experience at the brewery, anything that has to do with beer. Like, so what's your top 3?
Okay, that's a great one. So probably number 1, there was a festival here in Quebec in 2018 called Fuda Uni, and it was a festival run by a brewery called Dunham in response to another brewery called True de Diable, who sold to Molson, which is like the worst thing you could ever do, is sell your brewery to a large brewer. And they had it on the same day that they would usually have a festival. So Fuda Uni, FU. So it was kind of like a fuck you to that brewery.
Nice.
That's awesome.
I love it.
It was really smart, right? It was in this area called, I don't know how to say it, it's like Friedrichsburg, Quebec,
Sure. Yep.
right on the border of Vermont, where they had these tents in this like big field with these 8-foot sunflowers. We went to the afternoon session. They had beers from all across the States, from across Canada. There was some European stuff like Cantillon, like the Lambics and stuff. And it was just the most perfect day it was August 11th, 2018. I'll never forget it. It was just such a beautiful experience. It was like everyone was vibing. The beers were just fucking amazing. Nobody got too trashed, which always happens at beer festivals because the pours were so small.
Yeah.
So you didn't get too wasted, which is always a problem at festivals. It was just, we think about that place regularly. I'm absolutely over beer festivals, but I will go back to that if they do it again in a second. It was just impeccable. The second one I can think of was my friend, also named Craig. He's from Toronto, but he moved to San Diego. And in 2017, we went to San Diego just to kind of escape the winter here for a bit. And we stayed with him for a week and went to LA for a couple of weeks as well. And right from the airport, he picked us up, and it was this weird feeling where, when I got there, I was like, I don't know about you guys, but life is pretty hectic. It's pretty tough. I'm running businesses, like that shit to do. So I'm never like, I don't know. I was just say happy. I'm always just like, yeah, it's fine. But you're never like, yeah, like a kid. I'd never been so fucking happy being there. I was just giddy for no reason. The palm trees, it's right near the beach. I'm like, this is amazing. Picked us up from the airport, took us straight to this place called Bottlecraft. And it's essentially a bottle shop, like a beer store they had a counter that sold like cheese and meats and stuff and like artisanal bread. And then they had like 12 taps. So you could go in there and be like, hey, can I get a pour of that? And then you just drink this fucking incredible California haze whilst walking around the store and like picking a bunch of cans and bottles that you want to buy. And if you wanted to, you could even open the bottles there. It was just like, I'd never seen anything like that before, because obviously in Canada, they would never let that happen.
Yeah.
It was just impeccable. That was definitely a fave. And maybe, the last one was probably visiting the Alchemist Brewery in Vermont for the first time, which was the heady topper one I have back there. When I first, so basically long immigration story, but there was a time I was physically trapped. If I left, I probably wouldn't be able to get back into Canada. So I was waiting for my visa to come, and it just like my actual work permit, it just didn't come. So literally I arrived sometime in September 2016. And as soon as I got that, within like 2 or 3 days, we booked a car and we went straight to Vermont, and we went straight to Alchemist, and just pulling up, driving past, and like, yeah, and like actually drinking it from the source was so crazy after being trapped here for, I think, 4 years or something like that. I couldn't leave. Amazing. Fucking amazing. So yeah, I'd say those three that I could think of. There's probably a bunch more, but that would be the top three.
Nice. Yeah.
It's a great beer stuff. Yeah, man.
Bretzky, do you have any? I know you're not a beer drinker, like you mentioned before the show.
I'm going to have to narrow it down to more experiences, I guess. So I think number one, I'm going to have to say, because this is probably the earliest good beer memories, is having beers down
2 hours ago
down at Pete's, where Tommy and I, it's a place we go in the wintertime and play some sponge hockey down on the river. And I've been going there since I was a kid. It was one of my dad's friends. And just having a beer down by the bonfire, playing some pond hockey.
in minus 35.
But like I said earlier, you put a beer in the snowbank, you come back after your shift and it's a slush.
Well, we sometimes actually bring coolers to
and
keep
put
our
heat packs in.
to keep our beer warm.
Oh, that's a great point.
Yeah, and then I'd have to say the second awesome one, having a beer on top of a mountain. That's always cool.
Yeah.
I worked on a ski hill for a few years, so they have chalets at different spots throughout the climb, so you can have one at the top, have one again midway down, and just sitting on the top of a mountain, having a beer, and just looking out at other mountains and shit like that. Like,
oh, absolutely.
You can't really beat that. And then third place, it's not any specific, but I'm gonna have to say concert and sports beers. Like,
yeah,
nothing beats just having some good beers when you're at a concert or watching a football or hockey game or something like that. And like, you don't drink other stuff when you're at those. You drink beer.
Well,
like,
they do last longer too, right? So I'm gonna go. So I'm gonna say number 3 would be, I went to the Sam Adams Brewery in Boston.
Nice.
And it was fantastic. Like, I never tried Sam Adams before until I was in Boston, and then we did the tour. And so they had this one beer that they don't ever, and I don't think they'll ever bottle. I believe it's called the Red Brick. And there's only like 2 or 3 pubs in Boston that they serve it on tap, and you can only get it in the brewery. Now, that was 10 plus years ago, so maybe they've started bottling it. I believe it was called the Red Brick. Sorry?
Boston Brick Red.
Brick Red, okay.
Yeah.
Red.
Yeah, and that was so good. Like, the brewery was great. They had some whiskey barrels, actually. There you go. Yeah. Okay. So it looks like they started canning it. Okay. At the time,
it does say in the thing, it says it's only available on tap.
Okay.
In select locations in and around Boston, but they must have started canning it or bottling it recently.
Yeah.
So you're not wrong.
Yeah. So it was fantastic. Like, I just at the end of the tour, they took you to this barn. They had this wooden bar across, and they're just like, okay, here's some pictures, and then we got these little Sam Adams glasses, which I'm pissed off at my kids because they fucking broke 2 of them. So fuck you, kids. But it was, that beer hit my mouth, and I'm like, oh, and I just kept pouring. and pouring it. It's just like keep going, until that pitcher was empty. Fantastic beer.
I still to this day can't hear of Sam Adams beer without thinking of the Dave Chappelle skit of Samuel L. Jackson beer.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking get you drunk.
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
Get you drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Number two, it was a music festival in Europe, in Slovakia. I was 15, my first ever music festival, and it's not like a music festival in. Well, I mean, I actually haven't been to a music festival in Canada, but I've been to a couple in the States, and you have your camping area, and then you have to go into the concert bowl, and then you kind of separate it. In Europe, it's a big field, and then you set up the tent wherever you set up the tent, and then you go back and forth, and then there's beer gardens, and so there's this competition that if you eat 2 kilos of pork, they're roasting this giant pig. If you eat 2 kilos, you get a full keg.
That's 4.5 freaking pounds.
Yeah, and so a buddy of mine, like he was a big guy, and he's like, "Boys, we're getting free beer," So he was sitting there, and like they give you all the sides, like vegetables and everything.
Because they don't want you to finish.
Bread, and then he started eating bread. We're like, whoa, put that shit away. No, just eat the meat. That's the rule. You have to eat the 2 kilos of meat. So he ended up eating, and he could not throw up for half an hour after.
I'd have fucking duct taped his mouth shut.
He was sitting there just like, we're like, oh, don't you do it. And like literally, okay, the timer went off. He turned around, just ended up throwing up. But we got the free, it was a 25-liter keg. We were ecstatic because like we didn't have to pay for beer for that day. We had to pay. Yeah, that didn't last us long. It was a big crew. And then number one, actually, I want to share this with you guys. I'm gonna throw it on. You'll be able to see it on the little screen there. But in Slovakia and even in Czech Republic, they serve a beer that is cut in half. So you can kind of see it there right now.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen that before.
So I haven't seen it in North America yet, but because the dark beer is lighter, they pour the light beer first and then the dark over top. Usually they have a spoon or something, and then it is fantastic. And if you haven't tried it and you ever see that on the menu, I suggest you try that.
There's a name for those.
What's it called? Yeah.
Well,
there's a black and tan, but I think that's usually a black and tan is not 2 beers. It's like a cider and like a Guinness or something.
Yeah, so I'm seeing black and tan here too, but in Slovakia they call it the cut beer. So it's like it's cut in half,
beer.
basically.
Okay. Interesting.
But it is.
I heard of.
Usually go ahead.
No, go please.
No, I was just gonna say like the two, because usually the darker beer has more of a creamier, little more flavor to it. So like as you're drinking, and then when the light beer hits you, the flavor is such a unique flavor in my opinion. So every time I go back home for visiting, and not many restaurants do it anymore. Before it was way more common. But if I can find a restaurant that they do it, I always order one because it's just fantastic.
Interesting. I went to this place here called Silo, Brasserie Silo, Silo, Montreal, who the brewer went to Czech Republic and Germany last time we did that before. So I went there recently, and they had one where they pour the light beer, and then they pour the foam from the dark beer. So it wasn't necessarily like that, but just the foam was from the dark beer, so the foam was a different flavor.
Yeah.
And then the light beer underneath, so it was somewhat similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the way that the Czech, my guess would be it's like a Czech style thing that had sort of filtered down into, if you're in Slovakia, Czechoslovakia, it's the same fucking country.
It used to be, yeah. And I'm just gonna share real quick.
Now.
So there's another one here that it's this one's the other way around. So this one must have been like a heavier beer that it's on the bottom, and then the light beer is on top. So there's 2 different versions of it.
I bet there's a Czech name for it, because all of these different things, like the Maliko, Mliko pour is the one I was telling you about, where it's like a centimeter of beer and then the rest is head.
Yeah.
Intentionally. They have so many different style things that they do. I swear I might have seen that here, but there's very few places. I don't know about in Manitoba, but like Godspeed in Toronto would probably do a similar thing, because they've got like 3 Luca taps. that they do all that. So it's like the type of brewery that specializes in, Crispies, I guess is what I would say, but like, Czech style beers would be the type that would do that because they would have the tap. So it's more and more common where like a brewery would just have one, side pool Luca tap. So they have to have more than one.
So
to do that.
I'm gonna actually share the screen here right now with you because actually it's funny on Untapped. I found it. Rezane Pivo. That means the cut beer, and they talk about it here.
Is that, and where's that brewery from? Is that one from Europe?
So this one,
Modicum
Brewing.
Modicum Brewing. I'm not sure. I don't recognize that name, so I don't know what language this is. I have no clue.
Google could probably figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, so they talk about it on Untapped as well. So it's I'm not making this shit up, basically.
No, no. This brewery seems like they do a lot of Crispies and stuff like that. And they're from Wisconsin, so these guys look like a lot of that kind of style. So that would be the type of place. So I imagine. Typically, it's funny the new style trendier breweries such as Kilter, who do smoothie sours, haze, often pastry stouts. They would typically do like those complex kind of Crispies, which I find super interesting. That they do those type of beers. So it's like it's like the Czech style stuff has found its way into this world of trendy shit. So you can go where you saw me have the slushy beer the other day. They don't have a side pull, but they have a thing that's called a 3-step slow pour, where it's basically trying to replicate the softness and the creaminess of that beer. And they do the haze, they do maybe some West Coast, and then they have the slushies and smoothie sours and pastries. So it's kind of all in this one little strange world. Beer is fascinating these days. It's good shit.
It is. On that subject,
so before we say bye to you. We have one last beer. So this is from, again, a local brewery. We mentioned it earlier.
That's going in.
Fort Garry Brewing. And this one is peanut butter and jelly sour.
Nice.
I am so excited for this. I've long said there's certain flavors that belong absolutely nowhere near a beer.
The table's lifting because of his little boner, so it's...
This is not one of those. I'm so excited to try this. And it's actually really funny because when I was talking to Q earlier, he mentioned to me, he's like, C really likes pickles.
I saw the dill
I'm like,
pickle one
there
there.
is not a fucking chance I'm picking up a pickle beer because those
I saw it today. Dill pickle, I'm like, no.
There's Spawn of Satan. I think
we'll have to do it at one
there's
point.
Not... They don't taste good. They're not two flavors that belong together. And then just ironically, you shared a memory today that was you having a pickle beer.
No, Q went and found it and fucking commented. So I don't like pickles. So he keeps saying I like pickles. There's nothing in life I hate more than pickles. Anything to do with pickles, he tags me in it, or he will go and like do it. Actually, that motherfucker! I knew I was waiting for that.
I love pickles, but like I can't eat pickles by themselves. Like it has to be either on a sandwich, a burger, or like with some meat, But like,
yeah,
but,
I like pickles.
So this one, I'm just gonna read the
it.
description on this one. Hemp made label. Way to go. We can smoke out of this after. No, okay, so it says
if you're going to turn anything into a Coke can pipe, you might as well.
We bring you peanut butter and jelly sour, a full-bodied and creamy sour beer with a nutty aroma with some fruit flavors in the background. Blackberry and raspberry tartness up front with the oats and lactose, giving this sour an unusually mild finish and allow the peanut flavor to sit on the palate.
This is either going to be a home run or the most disgusting beer I've ever had.
You're right. It could go either way. On paper, that doesn't sound like the one.
It does not smell good.
I feel like peanut butter. I've had peanut butter and jelly stouts, and I don't like peanut butter.
Okay, so it doesn't look bad.
It looks like a rosé. Like it's...
That's what I just saw in Untapped, yeah.
Yeah, so it's trying to block the
peanut
glare.
butter in a sour, bro, without any chocolate to hold it up is weird. Like peanut and just straight sour. I mean, the ratings are pretty high. I'm saying, oh, someone gave it 2.25. That's pretty low.
Oh my god, that is fantastic!
That is so
Holy
good.
shit!
Oh, it's good?
Oh my
That
god,
is really good.
I mean, it tastes nothing like beer.
No, it tastes more like a cooler. I'd say it tastes like a cooler
Oh.
that has like a peanutty aftertaste.
But you know what? I would say it's more chocolate than peanuts.
I don't really get chocolate out of it.
You know what? To me, like I'm not a big fan of peanut butter. Like I
Oh,
like
yeah, 'cause
peanut
you
butter
grew up
jelly
without
sandwich.
it.
Well, I like peanut butter jelly sandwiches, but it has to be on a toast and it has to be at camping. That's it. And I don't have peanut butter at my house. But this to me has like the aftertaste of more chocolate than peanut butter. But it is fantastic.
Either way, it's good. It's very light and crisp.
It doesn't smell good though. I wouldn't say that it smells fantastic. Like it smells all right, but like it doesn't have the peanut or the
Kind of
jelly.
smells like a fart.
Yeah.
That could be the nuts. They just can't. It's just really strange that it works. I'm glad you guys enjoyed that. That's great.
Holy
The
shit!
nose, though. Yeah.
Like that is just like, yeah. Like I can see that being very dangerous and like just you can
Like
get
most of
hammered on
these,
this.
I wouldn't.
And that's
I-
5.5% too.
Yeah, I wouldn't sit and slam a whole bunch of these, but like I'd definitely start a night off with them or a hot day by the pool or something like
See,
that.
this is like dangerous camping beer because you can drink
Yeah.
these all day and then you will not know what hit you.
yeah, this is a breakfast beer for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Have it with a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And
So you know, if you ever see it around in your neck of the woods, make sure you pick one up because surprisingly, it's like I was like, I don't think I'm gonna like this, but this is fucking fantastic.
or let us know how to get some to you. We can send you
Yeah,
a
that's-
Manitoba.
Again,
pack.
I'll be. I'm not sure. I know where Toronto and Montreal is, but like I know it's not close. It's not like a 1-day drive or like just pop in for the
It's
afternoon.
like 5.5 hours. Yeah.
But I will be there first week of August, so if you're in Toronto, like let me know and I'll bring you some of the cans. we'll go
We'll keep
bar
in
hopping.
touch.
Yeah, for sure. I'll make sure I'll add you on social media and
Yes, hit me up.
and
I'm in Toronto a bunch.
yeah. So if you're gonna be there, then I'll definitely bring you some of these beers. So I even bring you some
Oh yeah,
from
for sure. And I'll take you to somewhere fire and maybe somewhere that's got maybe Godspeed with the Czech pills.
For sure, yeah, I know, and yeah, I'll definitely try to. Then I would bring you some of from our friends Ox's brewery too. Bring you some beers from there.
Bring it
Yeah, I
on
couldn't
and a
find
haze
them on
bomb.
Instagram. I don't know what's going on. Maybe I went to their website. They didn't have any social media links at all.
Oh, it's
You know, I don't know if he
As
does
someone
do
who
the.
owns a social media agency, tell them to fucking get social. I think they need things.
actually speaking of that, we need some because I mean Bretzky's keeping up. I gotta say he's been a lot better lately, but I think we need help on our social media.
It's a whole.
Why don't you though? Again, before we let you go, why don't you give us a little bit of information on your social media company and any other stuff you got your hands in? If you want to plug anything, now's the time.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we have a social media agency called High Season Code. We've been around. Basically, we started the full time in the same year we started the podcast in 2015. It's my partner Tiffany and I. We have a YouTube channel, and we basically give social media tips, tricks, mostly around Instagram because that's all the audience really seems to care about. But that's at High Season Co. HIGHSEASONCO everywhere. We got some pretty big clients. Like Facebook themselves is our clients, so which is pretty funny that the 2-person. Well, now we've got like 5 employees, but when we got Facebook, we had just 2 of us getting Facebook, which is pretty crazy. So that's really some good stuff. Yeah, at BAOS Podcast is the beer stuff everywhere. BAOSpodcast.com, and that's the social. And we're on every streaming fucking podcast. I would say Spotify. Spotify, Apple Music, you name it. Same as you guys. Wherever you find podcasts, we're out there. We drop every Wednesday for pods. And we have a non-profit that we started called Link Up, which aims to diversify the craft beer industry. And we partnered with this brewery actually here, Saint-Guillaume Baron, so our good friends in Gatineau, Aylmer, technically, Quebec. So we have programs where we offer, different things, Cicerone, to people who buy POC. The idea is that craft beer looks like the three of us, bearded white dudes for the most part, and in order for craft beer to grow and get more interesting, we need to bring everybody in because beer is for everybody, and it just seems to be something that maybe people aren't aware of. So we thought that how can we affect change and try and do that? So we have these series of collaborative beers, which are some of those ones behind me there. We do series 3 kicked off today, actually, well, this week. The first brewery, we do one collab each week with different breweries, so they call the beer Link Up. They drop it each week, and they'll donate part of the profits to Link Up, which we then reinvest in the community to try and build that up. We have a job board on the website, so it's at Link Up Beer everywhere, and linkupbeer.org is the website. And lastly, this is so much stuff, guys. So whatever, take your pick of people who are watching and listening.
I want to make sure that you send us all the links. Send it to Brett, and then we'll make sure that we have the right stuff. I'll
make it very simple because it's all the same thing for the most
absolutely,
part.
Yeah. We'll plug it all.
That's the same. So. Perfect. And lastly, if you want to check my shit out, like the music, I'm at CEEFOR on Instagram and Twitter, and CEETMF on TikTok and Facebook. So. And obviously the music, you got to search for C. Just put in C Hazy, and you'll find me on Spotify and stuff. For some reason they hate, but yeah, there's some good stuff. So if you just sort of hip hop with a message, I guess, not just cars, money, women type of bullshit. My brother and I, Notion, work on a lot of stuff together. So, it's good shit. And there's a lot of great musicians, like other artists we've worked with, like dudes like Shay when he was Abstract Art Form, and Relic, and a bunch of other people around. Canada and beyond. So yeah, man, there's a lot of stuff happening.
Canadian hip hop is really good. Sorry, Canadian hip hop is really good for lyrical content, I find. It's not a lot of like what you said, the cars and money sort of stuff. Like you get a lot more of the actual artist types who are writing poetry, essentially, poetry to music.
Yes, 100%. I mean, the other stuff does exist. And does get some.
Oh,
traction,
absolutely! We've had them on our show.
Yeah, there you go, and that's okay.
There's a space for everyone.
I mean, our shows do better when our female co-host shows up every once in a while because everyone wants to look at her and hear her. So like that itself is just proves the point. but yeah, no, absolutely, yeah. Like I find too, and again, I've mentioned on this show that. I'm not a lyrics guy. I listen to the song as a whole. So if you could be singing about your dirty sock, but if it fits in with the melody, with
makes
the
you
screaming,
bob your head, tap your foot.
Exactly, I love it. And then I'll look into the lyrics. And but lately I've been listening to some newer songs that I haven't heard yet. And even though first thing is. I love it. Okay. Then I read the lyrics and I'm like, oh, okay. So it's actually, there's so many beautiful lyrics out there that I think like myself, many people overlook, and that's where the true art comes
And sometimes you read the lyrics and you're like, wow, that is not the vibe I got from that song at all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I said this story, but the Fuck You song from back in like 2002 or 3, whatever, like, fuck you, you hoe. I don't want you back. All that, yeah. Anyways, but I just remember I was still living in Europe, and then they played this song. It's just a nice slow song, and I see this older couple like slow dancing to it. It's all about like a breakup and like, fuck you, bitch. You were giving me head, and like I don't want. It's just so brutal.
Amen.
But
that was the name of the
okay, yeah. So it's just funny. Like people just like, oh yeah, it sounds such a lovely song, and it's like, no, you don't know what he's singing. Anyways, thank you very much for joining us. It's been absolute pleasure.
Fun, boys.
I think we both would love to have you on again sometimes in the future. See what's up, see what's new. Sure. We love collaborating with other podcasts too. Like I mentioned, we've done that with the Society of Scoundrels. They were good shit. You're awesome. Like you have lots going on, which is dope. Like we're both musicians too, and even though it's different genres, we can appreciate the music part, we appreciate the beer part, so it's been almost an hour and a half or so, and I think we could talk for
couple more hours for sure. You know, it sounds like a great conversation.
How
would
committed
be
are you
had.
to saving those pilsners?
Yeah, right. But no, I hope we can get you on the show again. And if you need some ever need any amateur reviews, you know, we're always open for business. You know?
So if he needs any marketing advice,
Sure, we could do a collab with the Bad Habits with my other podcast, because that could be kind of fun to do, like a collab episode, and we could figure that out.
Absolutely.
And if we do this again, what we could do, which I don't know why I didn't think of this before, we could ship beer each side.
I'd love to do that.
It works.
Yeah.
And then what we could do is say, like, I don't know, send 4 beers each or something.
Yeah.
And then we could have a couple from each, you know, a couple from Quebec, a couple from Manitoba
Yeah.
on the pod, but we all get to drink the same beers together. That could be super fun.
I think that would be
That would be a
fantastic.
great
Yeah,
time.
definitely. Let's keep in touch. Again, thank you for joining us. You know, wish you all the best. Enjoy the summer. You know, it's just around the corner. I'm not sure what the weather is like in Quebec right now, but like here in Manitoba, we've been dealing with fucking saturated ground and rain, and I mean, winter just ended like 3-4 weeks ago, really.
Yeah, and even then, it hasn't
I
really
guess
been
so.
nice
So
yet.
we can't wait for the hot weather, you know. But enjoy your summer, you know. And again, we'll keep in touch if we can somehow line up and meet in Toronto for you know, one night to have some go bar hopping or brewery hopping, whatever. I'm totally down. I'll be free in the evenings. So say hi to your lovely girlfriend, wife. Sorry, I'm.
Yes, girlfriend, but it's 11 years, so might as well be.
Oh yeah.
Common law.
You're screwed. You're screwed either way. So
Exactly.
good luck with the move. And
Thank you.
yeah, like keep doing what you're doing, man, and good luck.
Can we play you out
Appreciate
with?
you both, man.
Can we play you out with one of your other tunes?
Yeah, let's do one more tune.
Yeah.
Which one would you recommend again? Same album?
Let's switch up. Let's do same. I'll do something from the same album because that's the newest one. Let's do what's a good one that's like so that was a slapper. Let's do let's do something modern since we were talking about new stuff. There's a song called I Got Next. It's track 2 off the album. That was our last video that we dropped on my birthday like a month and a bit ago.
Okay.
And came out super nice. It's a nice little trappy joint. Kind of just like, you know, shit talking hip hop song. Not Money in Cars, but I'm better than you type of rap song. But yeah, it's a fun one. Nice little sort of like the modern sound, but you know, a little bit more meat to it type of thing. You know?
Alrighty, so this song is from C from the album Relentless, and the song's called I Got Next, and it's featuring Meyer Clarity and Notion again as well, right?
Yes, sir.
Right on. Enjoy, guys.
Cheers.
Take care.
Appreciate you both. Have a great night.
Later.
Peace, peace.
In a lab coat with this stopwatch, I've been that close, but then cock blocked. But the man focused, no off shots, and the track's potent. This onslaught, the real shit, never really quit. Really kid, I mean the catalog is really thick. It really is, and the team is looking really big. I really spit, so the future feeling really sick. We really did get it in over Soul Beats, been getting no sleep. Broad belly left the crib for a whole week, so we putting in the work when the cold peaks. So much fire, we never considered the whole heat. Yeah, and the whole squad gon' eat. I put that on my grandmama, I done told T. We didn't differ, empty pockets and some cold tea. Hold please, homie, we grinding it like I know T. Fuck a broke steez, try to live life smooth, cocoa butter on both knees. The man's gone, on the land for the clear, till we living like we kings, and we all up in this bitch like a tampon. I got next, and I ain't trying to stop until we got checks. 7 figures and the whippers with a .S. Holy shit, man, these rappers is a hot mess. Just quit, bruh.
Ooh, rolling through the city with the windows down. Ain't nobody gonna take my crown. I'ma kill this shit right now. Right now. Right now. Kill it right now.
Y'all yelling that you got next. How long any of us got left? I don't see any type of promise. Everybody's head up on a chop block, figuring out who be getting chopped next. Everybody stop it. Time to get together and acknowledge. Only ever be some independent artists. In the street, take every single dollar, but I could get a penny when my song spit. Grew up on Eminem, palm sweaty in a large hoodie, bombing on it in a wash of a small kitchen underground. Promising mama when the song spinning, I'ma buy us both real windows with a yard in them. Time gon' make a liar out of all of us. Praying all the drama was a part of it. Word to the pallbearers, be a waste if the drama never inspired words to turn them into songs for us. I'm fine up for toppling all of it down and just starting from scratch. Calling about third to parliament conference with satellite radio calling I'm next. I give up shit to quote, be the first to admit that we missed the boat. What you fishing for? Shit sink or float. Be the big fish next on that fishing pole. All of y'all fish sticks, bro.
Rolling through the city with the windows down. Ain't nobody gonna take my crown. I'ma kill this shit right now. Let's roll right now. Let's roll right now. Let's roll. Kill it right now.
Yo, I don't think you understand this. Just seeing how we move and how we planned it. Non-stop, people don't know how we manage. We relentless, you know what the brand is. TMF got next cause we built the steps. Cats tuning in now, giving real respect. Yo, it don't even matter how your praise is set. Just make a big pause, let it take effect. I've been making soul beats, brought back the old heat. Now we in the stew with C the whole week. I'm out murdering wax, pay the pertinent tax. And right now, dog, we on the attack. And you would been on the up and up, know what the fuck is up. 30 plus, real fresh with a button up. See the fire inside like a murderous vibe. Real life like a permanent high. How the fuck's to give? Had enough of this. Want my heart on my sleeve, y'all love the shit. Gotta trust the kid, going nuts for this. And the team breaking backs, real lumbar shit. And yeah, dog, we wanna thank you. Cause you helped the crew doing what you ain't do. Real slick, how we working with the angles. Damn, dog, don't you know we got an angel? Yeah, we got next.
Oh, rolling through the city with the windows down. Ain't nobody gonna take my crown. I'ma kill this shit right now. Right now. Right now. Kill it right now. I don't know where I'm going. I'm rolling through the fucking city. Don't fucking ask me.
Wow, what a great guest! Holy fuck! Like, this guy is awesome. I mean, to have a podcast about
Yeah, usually my friends are boring as fuck.
I know, yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. I know I'm not very exciting. Let's
Just in
you know what?
bed.
Let's get into the confession booth.
Alrighty.
I'm here for a confession.
Lord Jesus, what have you done?
Nothing. You just take it easy now.
I must confess.
Well, my dear, for your penance, 10 Bloody Marys and a good shag.
Leave a message. Beep.
We just got the one.
Okay, so this is gonna be Big Dave doing this week's trivia. I know, right? We got to figure out a better system for this. I think what we need to start doing is, if we're gonna keep doing this trivia, I think we got to start calling Dave live. Because Dave sent me his answers for my questions from last week.
Did he get them?
He got 100%.
Okay. I have to say, you still had fairly easy questions, but his were a lot easier than from the first one.
I don't know. Like the who did Sloth? What was his other profession? Sloth from the Goonies.
Yeah, I don't know.
What was Office Space? Which small cartoon was it based off of? And then the third one was, what does Tom Hanks do in every movie?
Yeah, so I Googled that, and it's pee.
Yeah, he takes a pee in every movie.
And he might...
Almost every movie, not every... See, the thing, I can see Dave having gotten one or two of these. To get all three, I feel, is a little suspicious.
But we're hoping that he's fair.
We're hoping. So I'm going to keep trucking on. I can't cheat. So... I guess I'll give the other answers as well. Office Space was based off of a cartoon by Mike Judge called Milton. And if you've ever seen Mike Judge, Milton is the character who has his red stapler.
Oh, okay.
Nobody better steal.
Ding.
Swear to God, I'll burn the building down. So, yeah, it was a short from, I believe, SNL. It was just like a little 2-minute cartoon of Milton, and he was just this stress bag at work.
Oh, okay.
And so the whole movie was kind of a spin-off of that. And then Sloth from the Goonies.
So he had another profession as not as an actor, right?
That's correct.
I'm gonna say a bank teller.
No,
okay.
it was something that he was known for. So
okay.
It was something that...
Are you Googling it?
I'm just getting the details of it down. But he was a professional football player, but he
okay.
played for, I'm just trying to find, I think it
Like
was the
football
Chicago,
or soccer?
American football, NFL. He played in the NFL. And I believe it was for the Chicago Bears. Oakland LA Raiders.
Okay.
And the Houston Oilers back when.
All right, so let's see what this call is all about.
Hey guys, Big Dave here.
No shit.
I got some trivia questions for Bretzky. Let's do this.
Can we call this the last round?
Until we can figure out a better.
Yeah. Okay.
better
This is the
way to
last
do
round.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the 1990s, scientists made the world's first cloned sheep.
Dolly.
What was its name?
Dolly.
Okay.
Question 2.
Squeak.
And also in the 90s, what was the most popular way to contact somebody?
Well, I think he's leaning for pagers. Cell phones technically were around in the 90s, but I would argue that wasn't the most popular
everyone
way.
had a pager. Yeah.
Pager, I mean, or a telephone still, or knock on their fucking door.
Yeah, exactly.
Or like I used to do, I'd just go outside
yell.
my friend's house. Hey, Jeremy!
Yeah, open the window. Hey, you home? Yeah, what are you doing? Jerking off. Oh, okay.
Question 3. In the Kevin Smith film Clerks, a man is trying to get people to stop buying cigarettes and holds up a cancerous lung in his bare hands. What is this man's job? Good luck, fuckers.
What do you mean, fuckers?
Well, I guess saying a clerk would be too easy. I have seen that movie, but when I last saw it, it was on VHS, just to kind of age when the last time I saw that movie was. Clerks 2 I've seen more recently, but, oh, Jesus. I'm going to say a detective.
Okay.
I don't know.
Here's your answers. Thanks for the call. The rest of you, just like call in, like just say hi. Like we miss you guys. We miss hearing your guys' voices. We chat. Some of the people on Discord, we chat all.
I still have
every
questions
day.
for Dave.
And then yeah. you can get to that, but just like call in. Like make sure we don't only get these boring calls between Bretzky and Dave. So okay,
Mike
what
and
are your
Ike, we
questions?
miss you. Okay, so my 3 questions are the first one, the common pill bug, or also known as cement bugs, or people call them all sorts of different things, roly-polies. When you lift up a rock or a piece of wood and there's all those little...
Yeah, it looks like the what do you call that? I know the Slovak name for it, actually. It's funny. The
dinosaurs.
Prehistoric.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they look like those dinosaur cephalopods.
Yeah,
sort
okay.
of. What?
Actually, sorry, can you guess what it would be called in Slovak?
yeah, I changed my question. What is it called in Slovak? No. What are they, what larger mammal are they related to? The next question I have is the product.
Sorry, I just Googled it. Actually, it's called in English.
Well, a trilobite.
Yeah.
Sorry, cephalopods are the cone ones.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
So it's trilobite.
You're
Yeah.
correct. Yeah. The WD-40, the product. Where did it get its name from? That's it.
I fucking knew that.
That's
Actually,
it for that
I
question.
heard that before.
And the next one, did Jeffrey Epstein kill himself? No, I'm just kidding. If I were to go to a bar and order a Tom Collins, what would you pour in the cup?
You should have said Phil Collins.
Yeah. Ordered a Phil Collins, yeah.
Only the three of us know that.
Yeah. That's a podcast exclusive drink.
Yeah. All right.
Woo, Edmonton scored again. Yeehaw.
Well, thank you guys for thanks, Dave, for calling in. But if you would like to leave us a voicemail, please do that. Like we again, like I mentioned, we love hearing your guys' voices. You can. I don't give a shit if you rant in the car about the fucking construction or potholes. Let's talk about something that bugs you that day. Like
you know who said he was going to leave me a voicemail on here? My dad.
Oh my God, that would be.
He's apparently started listening, and he went all the way back.
Oh no!
He's only at,
Oh,
he's
no!
at about the Back Alley Beers episode right now.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's
You,
just getting
you
real-
said that in the chat.
Yeah, it's getting.
But yeah, you can So Bretzky's dad, when you get to this episode, please call in every episode and just give us the dirtiest secrets about Bretzky, like when he was a little kid, how much of a shithead he was, or
No, you already had my sister on for a whole episode doing that. Fuck
That's
off.
okay, but now we need to know your dad's perspective.
No, that's a hard no.
Yes. But yeah, leave us a voicemail. You can do that on our website, which is, you can do it on our website, www.thevipod.com. And on the bottom right-hand corner, there's a little microphone. Click on it, and you can leave us a 2-minute voicemail. You can also email us at thevipodmail@gmail.com if you have a longer story that you would like to share and you're shy to leave a voicemail and you can't fit it in 2 minutes. I know Franco used to leave us some emails before, and then we had Kurt, actually. I don't know what the fuck's going on with Kurt. I think you hurt his feelings.
Fucking fell in a mine and
Yeah, probably.
got his snowmobile
But he used
stuck
to
in
leave
there
us
somewhere.
emails all the time. Half of it didn't make sense, but we still loved it. You can
that's
please,
why we loved it, because it didn't
Yeah.
make any sense. So.
You can please go follow us on our Facebook page, which is the VIPod, and you can
.com.
You can follow us on Instagram, the VIPod Podcast. You can listen to our episodes on Spotify. You can subscribe, and you can also listen on Apple Podcast and Google Podcast.
His beer's catching up to
Yeah,
you,
I know.
Tommy.
Yeah, it's like shit. I don't have it in front of me. You can also listen to our podcast on Amazon Music and TuneIn Radio. You can please go and rate and review our show. Should we read one review?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Let's. You know what? We haven't done that actually.
Oh,
We-
shit, I never got C to mess up a song lyric. He'd have been a good one for
Oh
that.
shit! And I thought
Call
of
him
it
back.
Call him back. But we talked about this, that we're gonna start reading our reviews a little bit, and fuck, why not? Let's just do it right now. Do you want to pick somebody specific or just random? Let's do a random here. Reviews, okay. So,
Read our lowest review.
our lowest one. Oh shit! I don't know if we can do that.
Yeah, it said sort by, and on the last screen.
Yeah, but
you
they're
could
all
choose-
5-star.
Oh.
They're all 5 stars. So actually, you know what? Speaking of Kurt, this one's from here just because this is the way he writes. Do you want to read it?
Says they're great. First time I listened to this show, I was mid-shit when my daily cast was done. Needed about 8 to 12 minutes more of content to get me through, or something through, so I figured I'd give it a chance. I gave it a chance, and I haven't missed an episode yet. Bet you he still hasn't. He's just down in the mine, stuck
Could
there
be,
with
yeah.
his phone beside him. I recommend this show if you're sick of your politically correct BS, like to laugh out loud while sipping beers or whatever beverage of choice, or smoke while sitting alone, because you will get funny looks from spouses or coworkers. I love this show and the 3 awesome hosts. I would give it 25 stars if I could.
Yeah, that's his. That's the Nomads. But I guess he doesn't know how to spell
can't
rar.
There was some serious generosity being given to his spelling while I read that.
Yes. But yeah, so you can leave us a review on our website as well as on Apple Podcast and Google Podcast too. So yeah, thank you to our sponsor, Safety Net Studio. Check them out at safetynetstudio.ca. Order your pizza today at thepizzaoven.ca and use the promo code VIPod5 because you get 5% extra off. And now they have the incentive program
Or no, what did you?
Well, first of all,
loyalty
you got to
program.
tell them that if they order online, they get another 5%.
Well, they get
off
automatically
to a
5%. Yeah, grand total of 10%
off. That's how the speech
Yeah,
works.
that's right.
And then and they have a loyalty program now where
You get to earn points. Basically, the more money you spend, the more points you get that you can use towards your next purchase. So go and order the pizza today.
and the points build up pretty quick.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah. And they have great deals now online too. So you get extra $5 or $10 off per pizza if you order a certain amount. So yeah, man, and again, if you order like 2-3 pizzas, like that'll last you like fucking 2-3 nights. Like they're giant. pies.
They're hearty pizzas.
Yeah, and they're like actually when we ordered it for the hockey wind up, everyone was like, "Holy fuck, look at all that meat in there." They really stuffed it. So get your pizzas. Also check out Badlands Promotions on Facebook and Instagram at Badlands Promotions. You can get updates on Manitoba Loud Music Awards and the other events that Badlands Promotions is putting on. Like there's some shows coming up soon. We're going to be announcing some. So go make sure you check them out. Shout outs.
I'll shout out my dad for when he finally gets to this episode. Wow.
Terry, right?
Yeah, Terry. I'll give him a shout out. And actually, you know what? I have a second shout out today. It was really weird. I have this buddy I grew up with. We used to hang out every day, and I haven't seen the guy in a good 15 years at least. And he'd sent me a message a couple weeks back, just shooting the shit. We hadn't talked to each other in a long time, and kind of said, "Oh, we should hang out again sometime." And it was just really weird because last night I had a dream that we got together and hung out, and then I saw today on Facebook that his mom passed away, and I just thought that was really strange how those two are so close. Yeah. But I wanted to just send out condolences and shout out to my buddy Chris too. I know he doesn't listen, but who knows? Maybe one day he'll go back and start from the beginning too. And but yeah, it really sucks, man. And sorry to hear.
Shitty.
Hope you're doing well.
It's crazy that you actually went that route because I was gonna, and I still will, but I'd like to shout out one of our guests, Surreal. Because his mom just passed away, unfortunately, and it's shitty what happened to her, and I'm not going to get into details. It's not my story to tell, but man, it's life is short, so enjoy your guys' closest ones, because you never know when they can leave this place, and Surreal, wish you. I want to just wish you my condolences, our condolences, because no one needs to go through it by themselves. So if you ever need just place to vent, you know where to reach me. And the other quick shout out to Hempy and her little one, just a little fucking ugly Chihuahua, just with big googly eyes. For fuck's sakes,
I love Chihuahuas.
Yeah, I was kind of. A dick to her on Discord. What
else is new?
I have no problem kicking a dog in the head if he fucking attacks me. But
yeah, you leaned in a little hard on that.
I did. But I mean, it's true. If it's any dog, I love Rocco, but if he tries to bite me, I'm fucking kicking him. I have no problem doing that.
You're that, you dumb
but
fuck.
no, it's a cute little fucker, and I know you guys are good dog owners, Hempy. So it's gonna be all right. I don't think I'm gonna have to kick your dog in the head. Anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in. I don't even know. I think we're at episode 59, so we're getting closer to
episode
69.
All right,
10 more away. So, fucking hell.
Probably actually got to count it out and.
Okay, hold on. Just for shits and giggles, I really need to check something here, because if my quick math is not as shitty as I think it is, might be a really good episode. Oh fuck, that's so big. So we are here. So it's going to be 60. 1, 2,
We only have
3,
8 more
4,
booked.
5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, I thought this is going to be the 69, but it's not. Okay. We have a guest that it would be funny, but it's still not very suiting for that one. So that would have been fucking funny. Anyways, thanks for tuning in. It was a lovely show. I fucking had a blast today. I hope you guys enjoyed this interview with C. Such a cool dude, and I look forward to like having more collaborations with that guy. Hopefully, we can maybe get on his podcast one day.
Learn something about how to
Wink,
do some social
wink.
media.
I just care about the beer. That's your department. All right, guys.
Loads.
Fuck you. I love
Bye.
you. Bye. Burp. So I know we have at least one today. At least one scumbag cares.
Well, I know Big Dave called.
Oh, fuck. Again?
Yeah, we'll let's see what's here before I
raise it up a little bit.
what happened